Welcome viewers to Historical Journeys. The enormous Robert E. Lee Memorial in Richmond, Virginia, and more specifically, what was beneath it, have long fascinated people. There was a rumor that a photograph of Abraham Lincoln might have been in a time capsule there in the days following his death. In any case, what specialists in the end tracked down brought about additional inquiries than addresses. After disruptive sculpture is eliminated, specialists reveal odd assortment of things reserved inside. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It only takes a second, and you won't miss any of our future videos. Let's get started. Yet, getting back to the actual sculpture, you might think about what made it so dubious. During the Civil War, Lee was a general for the Confederacy. He and numerous figures from this side of the conflict erected national monuments. According to many individuals today, these sculptures have many regrettable underlying meanings that come from an earlier time. All the more comprehensively, they are viewed as landmarks to subjection, as the Alliance attempted to keep up with bondage during the nationwide conflict. To say this is a delicate issue would be putting it mildly. Regardless, endeavors have been in progress for quite a while to eliminate the sculptures referenced above, remembering the Lee sculpture for Richmond. Indeed, Lee's monster sculpture was at long last eliminated as of now following a year of warmed banter. It was anything but a figure that was not difficult to move. In view of its size, it weighed around 2,400 pounds. Whenever that was gone, I went to the base. As recently referenced, areas of strength for that a period container was left under Lee's sculpture in 1887. About 3 years passed before the figure was displayed. This gossip depends on old news sections, which additionally uncover what was put away in the holder. With the sculpture far removed, specialists started looking for the container inside the base. Right now, the crate was found in a colossal piece of rock weighing roughly 1,500 pounds. However, what made this time capsule so popular? When Lee's sculpture was collected, conversation immediately went to leaving the holder at the base. It wasn't a decision made in a hurry. Then the laborers were entrusted with making a copper vessel that would fit cozily into the sculpture's establishment stone. What qualifies as a period case? A man named William B. Kennedy. Isaac, who was an individual from the Freemasonry Association in Virginia, made sense of that remarkable things from the nationwide conflict ought to likewise be incorporated. He additionally empowered players with solid connections to Richmond to rejoin the group. The town quickly regarded his words, with nearby occupants giving different things to the chief, like Confederate buttons, verifiable records, and neighborhood maps. These are merely a few of the inquiries. 60 things were placed into the room, and afterward it was fixed. However, one aspect is very clear. As indicated by the Richmond Express News on October 18, 1987, a lady named Patty Cullors gave a photograph of the chief. This appears to be a photograph of Abraham Lincoln's coffin-bound body. This is an extremely odd question. Verifiable records show that there isn't one photo of the president's body. As Abe's lamenting spouse, Mary Todd Lincoln didn't believe anybody should think this solicitation was real. Do you concur? This photograph was taken in April 1865, when Lincoln's body showed up in New York. All things being equal, he set it aside for certain papers. From that point onward, Snap proceeded with his astonishing excursion. Abraham in Illinois before he showed up at the Lincoln Official Library and Historical Center. Life can once in a while be more odd than fiction. That makes one wonder. Assuming we have the main genuine photograph of Lincoln's body, what sort of picture did the spilled time case give? A specialist named James Cornelius felt somewhat skeptical and proposed the sketch was made by somebody who visited the official dedication. For good measure. Assuming the depictions and time cases are genuine, they could merit a flat-out fortune. All the more explicitly, Precipus Crane told Richmond Magazine in December 2017. He works in the subject of authentic photography and has completed a few examinations on cranes, and this picture is a unique visual print from his 1865 with fair market values going from his $250,000 to his $30,000. It is assessed to be in the scope of $1 million. This is a result of its outright unique case and comparable to the most costly photo of President Lincoln ever, which sold at closeout in 2009 for $206,500. Oh, also, when Cornelius got back to his past doubts, he and his partners were as yet inspired by the image. He told Richmond magazine that the statue would appear whether or not the cornerstone would open by chance. Presently, I comprehend the significance of time cases. Let's go back to December 2021, the ominous month. In view of this, the set of experiences specialists dealing with this study required a few days to concoct a serviceable arrangement. At last, the gathering utilized devices, for example, wedges and power saws to remove areas of the boards. After all, one bad move can lead to disaster. When the time container was then set free from the cleared region, it required around 5 hours to pry it open. Presently, this interaction was administered by Ralph Northam, who was the legislative head of Virginia at that point. He was so inspired by all of this that he even kept individuals refreshed through online entertainment. While work proceeds, after the case was delivered, Northam was respected to open it. As everybody hung tight for well-being, Northam gradually removed the top, expecting to find a photograph of Lincoln glancing back at him. Security colleague Katie Ridgway said, "To put it plainly, there are no photos of Lincoln. Above all, there isn't anything in box 60. This isn't a period container as specialists suspect it will be. It's totally different. What precisely is this capsule then? It's a superb blend." The two things requested were a manually written note and a photograph. One of the specialists was similarly astounded by how the situation was playing out and imparted her contemplations to the New York Times in December 2021. The director of the Virginia Office of Historic Resources is Julie Langan. "We don't have the foggiest idea why the tones were placed in the case," he told the paper. "This is an alternate kind. Likewise, the items aren't perfect, as we're going to find out. And indeed, because of the idea of the time container's items, all that will get wet when it's dismantled. Cover." Ridgway told WETR, "Place the fruit in the refrigerator because it is wet to prevent spoilage." Essentially, the functioning hours didn't end with declining grades. However, Langan is unable to comprehend the level of interest in the subject. According to what Langan told the New York Times, the operation was overseen by a number of other senior officials in addition to the governor. She likewise found it fulfilling. However, the head of the Virginia branch of Noteworthy Assets perceived the reason why others were shocked by her disclosure. The query is still open. What happened to Lincoln's time container? Has Langdon continued on? The majority of people appear to be very interested in this time capsule and curious about its meaning, though I'm sure some will be a little disappointed. Notwithstanding this, Dale Brumfield accepted that it never worked and that it was someone else who made this time container during the 1880s. The set of experiences master talked for a long time about this in a December 2021 discussion with ABC News. Brumfield told the station it was only an inner self-excursion with respect to the Lee Landmarks developers. "I accept these individuals were abandoned from the first time container and chose to put this little box in the construction to remember them." Indeed, the stone section was taken out from his 20-foot blemish on the base, not on the ground. Mr. Brumfield proceeded. "They essentially halted development, perhaps did a little confidential service, put this little box there, covered it, and proceeded with development with no media inclusion. It was her own private business and a fascinating hypothesis. For the time case that everybody in Richmond needed to find, a few specialists have various suppositions on what has been going on with it. For instance, Langan thought that the case had been eliminated from the base some time in the past, with no proof abandoned. Langan also suspected that the capsule had been stolen, but he ruled out any other possibilities. Perhaps it wasn't covered at the base in any case. These concepts did not really sway Brumfield. As he told ABC News, He accepts the sculpture will be re-established once laborers eliminate its establishment. Brumfield added, "Anyway, with respect to the eventual fate of this Richmond store, Northam put out an announcement in September 2021. Northam expressed the beyond year and a half has seen a notable shift from the pandemic to fights requesting racial equity. It is fitting that we supplanted the bygone era container with another one that recounts this story. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay updated with our latest videos, subscribing is the way to go. Just click that red button below and become a part of our channel family.